welcome to Midnight Science Club. I am Nick, and this is
Elliot
and
Ethan.
And we're all wizards in training here at Midnight Science Club. And we've got an eclipse coming up, and we thought you might want to know a little bit about what an eclipse is, maybe some ways to view the eclipse if you have glasses, if you don't have glasses. And I think the three of us are going to show you how to do that today. What do you know is going to happen?
The sun's going to get like covered up or something, right?
Okay, what do you think?
I know that the things that are getting covered up or are being used to be covered is the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun.
Perfect, exactly. So, I have for you here a little Earth and a little moon that I threw at you. I'm so sorry. I told you I was going to mess up.
That's why this isn't a live show.
Okay.
That would make it into the top.
I know. All right, what I have for you here is a little Earth, right? It's blue, kind of like the Earth. It's a bouncy ball. I shouldn't lose it this time. Okay, so that's the Earth, right? And then you've got the sun in the sky, and we have the moon that orbits us every day, right? But every once in a while, when everything lines up, the moon passes in front of the sun and makes a little shadow on the Earth. So that's all an eclipse is. It's a shadow on the Earth cast by the moon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a lot simpler than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's not too complicated. But I feel like this isn't the greatest way for them to see what an eclipse looks like. You know, I'm not in the studio very often. Do you guys know if there's anything in here that you could put together that we could show them that would maybe make more sense than my little balls here on the desk?
I think I know just the thing.
Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna be back in like 10 minutes and we'll see what we have, okay?
Okay.
All right. What? This is so cool. What did you make?
So I'm the stand-in for the sun, so I have this old projector which creates a very bright light.
Ethan, what did you do?
Well, I made the moon.
Okay.
As you can see, it can move as it is connected to the ceiling fan. And just like an eclipse, the moon comes between the sun and the people at home on Earth.
That is so cool. You guys did such a good job.
Thanks.
Is this why they call you wizards in training?
Definitely.
Awesome. So we were doing this eclipse demonstration with Elliot and Ethan, and Ethan realized something about the demo and wanted to show it to us. Go for it, man.
So while I was moving the moon, I realized that when the light shone on it, it showed the phases of the moon. Like right here we have a crescent, a half moon, a waning gibbous, waxing gibbous, full moon, and even a new moon. And so I realized that through this demonstration, we can show the phases of the moon.
That's really cool.
Every time I come over here, the light just hits my eyes and I just can't see anything. And if I can't handle that light, how can I handle the light from the sun when I'm trying to watch the eclipse?
That's actually a really good question. It's dangerous to look at the sun for too long and it can burn your eyes. I actually have a few things with me specifically for learning how to look at the eclipse safely. Do you guys want to do that next?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so if you guys want to look at the sun and see the eclipse, what you need is a pair of these sunglasses, right? But they're not normal sunglasses. These are actually specifically for looking at the sun. They have these shades on them that filter out so much light that the only thing that you can see is the sun, and you'll be able to view the eclipse with this. You might think that because the moon is in front of the sun, it's blocking so much light that you can look directly at the sun and you'd be fine. Not true.
Not at all.
There's a ton of energy that's coming around the moon and still hitting your eyes, and you can get really bad burns, which is why you need these glasses. It says right on here that it's ISO certified, that it's actually strong enough to block out the sun, safe for direct solar viewing. So make sure you look for that when you go and you look for your glasses. Now, let's say you don't have these, or maybe you don't want to be staring at the sun the entire time and you want some other ways to look at the sun. Would you like to see some other ways that we could use science to look at the eclipse?
Yes.
Of course.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so what is this?
Just like a piece of cardboard with a tiny hole in it.
Do you think that what you should do with this is put it up to your face and look directly at the sun?
No,
Why?
Because that's
that
still the
doesn't
same
like
thing.
filter out any light.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're gonna burn your eye. The little pinhole that I've made here is not for looking at the sun, it's actually for looking at the shadow of the sun, well, the shadow of this board, and seeing a little patch of light that the sun makes on the ground. When I turn the light on, it's bright, right? Shines a light, and if I'm looking at the desk, this light shines on the desk and it just makes the desk bright, right? If I put this board in the way, there's a little light that gets through the hole. Tell me what you see.
Looks like little dots.
Little dots on the
light.
desk. What do you notice about this light that I'm using here in the studio? What's different about it than maybe a light bulb that you would use in your house?
That one's LED, right?
Yeah, and it's got a bunch of these little individual lights.
Yeah.
You can't see those when I initially turn this on and shine it at the desk, but you can see them when I put the cardboard in the way through that hole. Do you see them moving around?
Yeah. Yep.
They're also a lot dimmer than it was before,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, way dimmer.
So what's happening is the light that's coming off of this light that I'm holding is going through the hole, and just a little bit of it is coming through and shining onto the table there. If you take that ball and you move it slowly in front of the light, you'll be able to see on the table the little dots slowly start to disappear. See that? That's exactly what you'll see during the eclipse, except it'll be the sun instead of my fancy light here. You'll be able to see the moon slowly passing in front of the sun in that little spot of light on the ground. And that's a really safe way to view the eclipse, to see it happen in real time without looking at the sun. I have a couple of solar viewers that work just like this that you could make at home if you wanted to. One, tell me what that is. Tell me what that is.
It's like a toilet paper tube.
That's a big roll of toilet paper, man. Do you need toilet paper?
A paper towel tube.
A paper towel tube? Okay, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
man, that's
and
a
then
lot of toilet paper.
and then some duct tape here, a little piece of paper taped. We've got foil here that's held in place by this rubber band, and the foil has a teeny tiny hole in it.
Little tiny hole. Okay, what about you? What do you have?
Well, here we have a big cereal box taped with aluminum foil, and then there is also a little hole in the foil.
Very cool, very cool. So how do you think you might use that to view the solar eclipse?
The pinhole in that made it smaller.
Okay.
So the pinhole in this would go where exactly?
Well, if you point this at a light, that pinhole will do the same thing on this little card that's on the bottom as it did on the desk, right? So if you point that at the sun, right here on this little piece of paper, you'll be able to see the same thing that you could see on the desk, but it's nice and handheld, easy to move around. And if it is maybe too bright out or you're having a hard time, you can kind of cup your eye and look at this little spot of paper here and safely look at that instead of looking straight at the sun. Isn't that cool? Nice and handheld.
Very useful.
What about that? Now that you know how that works, how do you think that works?
Well, kind of the same way. So you point the foil with the hole at a light, then you look down into the box, which is empty as it should be. If a circle of light shows down there, then you see that the sun shines through, and when it disappears, then you know that the eclipse is happening.
Perfect. What's kind of funny about this one is that the best way to look at it is to kind of look down inside, which means that you got to point your back to the sun. So you'll be like looking down inside of here, but the sun's back behind you. So that's kind of funny with this, right? Isn't that cool? A couple of easy, safe ways to look at the eclipse built with stuff you can find around the house. Are you guys excited for the eclipse?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, really excited. Have you heard anything about what it's supposed to be like during an eclipse?
No.
No? What do you think it's going to be like?
Probably pretty cool. Probably like a once or twice in a lifetime event.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to get darker around you, right? Like what do you think some of the things that'll happen around you, not just the sun? What do you think might happen?
The solar power will slow down.
It's true. It's not getting as much light, right?
So yeah, maybe the power grid will get messed up.
Uh-oh, that'd be bad.
That'd be interesting.
I've heard it gets cooler, right? So you would normally feel a lot of heat from the sun, but because the moon's blocking so much of it, it gets like kind of cool. The wizard told me that sometimes the birds start either chirping or they get really quiet because they think it's suddenly like nighttime or it's like about to be nighttime or something like that. So the birds sound different. That's crazy to me. That's something to listen for, right?
Yeah, then the bugs would probably be the same way too.
Yeah. Tell us in the comments what you're excited about for the eclipse. Let us know if there's any cool stories that you've heard about what you're going to see, and tell us what your experiences are. And if you build one of these and you use them during the eclipse, take a picture and send it to us and tag us on social media. I think that would be pretty cool. Do you guys want to tell them where they can find us?
Oh yeah, they can find us on TikTok,
Instagram,
Facebook,
YouTube.
and Patreon as well.
Did you guys practice that?
Yes.
You're very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us at Midnight Science Club. I'm Nick. I'm a wizard in training. I hope you enjoyed that and come back and see us.